With all the carcass sides drilled for the shelf pin holes, I'm using a simple story stick to mark our hinge plate centres, then a cheap template to mark the screw holes before drilling them out. With the carcass completed, we can move on to the doors, using the same story stick to mark the hinge centres, and paying particular attention to the double doors. Now we can move on to cutting the domino mortises. The double cabinet is to be built on site, so has 3 mortises across its depth, so I reference off the front edge on both sides to keep this consistent. The single cabinets have 2 dominoes on each side, so I can simply use the pins for alignment. And we repeat the process for the carcass tops and base. So we've got our carcasses sort of cut to size, all the shelf pin holes are done, all the domino mortises are cut. These are very ordinary, very standard sort of carcass construction, 18mm MRMDF all the way around, dominoes, carcass screws, lots of glue, boom, job done, 6mm MDF back, stapled on afterwards. Very simple, very straightforward. The run of cabinets is a double, 900 wide double, and 2 550 singles, more or less. The double cabinet I'm actually going to build on site. It'll be prepped and ready to go here, but I'll actually put it together on site, just because it's a bit too big a lump to get all the way up, 5 flights of stairs. The 2 singles I'm going to make here, and I'm not going to show you how they're both constructed. I'm just going to talk about one of them. The one on the extreme right hand side has an interesting in inverted commas, little cutout, because it has to fit around where some pipes are boxed in, and I've made this delightful template on site as to where all that goes. And I'm really sorry about this. It's all very brown. I was looking at one of the videos the other day thinking, God, the whole place is made of MDF. I've got to paint it grey or something. Anyway, without the template is obviously of the space that's available, whereas the tops and bottoms are designed to have the sides planted on. So I've got to sort of get this into the right position. So that can be our side there. Just make sure that's in the right sort of place. And we can mark up where the cutout needs to be. Now again, that's the absolute maximum space, so we need to come inboard of that a little bit. I don't know if you can see that, can you? We'll give ourselves a little bit more wiggle room on that. So inboard from this. Yes, you're right. I did put my pencil mark on the wrong side. Okay, so those are the lines that we're working to. With the top and base clamped together, we can make our cutout in one, and because I'm working on the waist side of the line, I use a 2mm green packer to offset the rail, before making the cut nice and steady, and always with a watchful eye so I don't overshoot the line.
Flipping the workpiece around, we can complete the cutout, finishing off with a handsaw where the circular saw can't reach. And finally, we clean up the inside edges of the cutout with a sharp chisel. Back with our shelves, they all need trimming by a few millimetres, so they fit easily into the cabinets. And I'm taping an offcut of the lipping that I used to the back of the double shelves, so I don't get tear out during the trimming. The single shelves are only lipped on the front edge, so this isn't an issue for them. With all the trimming completed, it's on to the happy task of sanding any rough edges, glue squeeze and dried filler from all the shelves, paying particular attention to the edges of the larger shelves. So with the shelves completed and put to one side, we can mark up and cut the domino mortises in the base and top of our corner cabinet, all with the usual mixture of pencil marks and reference pins.
Okay, so I've got a fess up here. Everybody makes mistakes, and I've just made an absolute howler. Now, when I make my first site visit, I make quite careful measurements between the walls, and then I do some plans from that, and then for tricky bits like this I template it. You saw that earlier. When I put my cut list into the timber yard, I just had a bit of brain fade, and I worked off the original measurements and not off the template or the plans. So what I've ended up with, when it came to just sort of pop these together quickly, because I haven't allowed for the skirting board, baseboard behind the cabinet or in this little notch, I've got sort of 40mm space there, which is probably not really good enough. You know, my tolerances are pretty slack, but that's a bit much even for me. Fortunately, it's the kind of thing that can be resolved by applying a little bit of time and money. Yes, I had already done the shelf pin holes, and I'd already cut the mortises, but you know, that's not the end of the world. You've got a piece that fits now. But if I painted it, ooh, that would have hurt. Never mind, it's all resolved now, and we can crack on with the next stage.